Well, it's interesting to see the changes, Chris. Cash is still number one. That's a bear market. But international stocks have been out of favor for a long time, and those are starting to move up in position number two. And then commodities had faded, and now they are rallying a little bit here, back up to position number three. But U.S. stocks continue to fade. And we've had a really great run with U.S. stocks for a long time. But this year, last year, 2022 is obviously terrible. And this year, looks like it, could be initially terrible, and then hopefully it rallies near the end of the year. At least that's the hope. Certainly, market's been very choppy here in the first couple of weeks of the year. Big up day, a couple of big down days. Yesterday was a down day, so we'll see where it goes. The interesting thing, though, Chris, is we're definitely in a bear market, and normally bonds are usually much higher ranked because bonds are usually a place where people go for safety. But because interest rates have spiked, and if rates do go lower, which is what's predicted, once a recession is over, then you could have a gain in your bonds too. So bonds might be an attractive investment, even though they're ranked number 5 right now. The trends are negative, but they could turn positive. So interesting, Chris. So we'll see how this shakes out. We started the year in a very strange position. We're clearly not in a bull market. We're in a bear market. Maybe we're finishing the bear market. Maybe we're near the bottom. We don't know, but we'll certainly keep a watch on and keep everybody informed. Well, and we've seen now the various states are having different experiences with population changes where people are leaving states with high taxes. Some people are calling it political blue and red states, but it's really much more about policy. I remember a meeting I was in a year ago with Senator Rick Scott, who is the former governor of Florida. And, Senator Scott talked about how when he became governor of Florida, that they had as many problems as some of the blue states now, like Illinois and California. Debt was high, taxes were high, and they had to make some changes. And once they turned it around, now you see the current governor, Ron DeSantis, continuing that growth. And now Florida is an amazing growth miracle. So any of the states that are experiencing, high taxes, high regulation, seeing population leaving, that's what people do, they could turn around with proper policy. So we're hoping that going forward that we get better leaders that come up with better policies for the states so the states don't keep losing population. They talk about, again, blue states, red states and all that. It's really more high tax to low tax. And if there's correlation to political party, then so be it. But it's really much more about policy than it is about politics, really. And then also kind of examining whether demand side economics or supply side economics can solve some of the issues. Demand side, it's really hard to tell what's going to happen when we initiate demand side activity, but we certainly can control the supply side. So if we control the supply, then it's easier to manage the economy better. For 2023, we expect, Chris, to see a lot more climate change politics. Now, interestingly enough, our friend Jeff Carter from Points and Figures, and you can get on his blog on Substack, pointed out that the whole cryptocurrency world can go bust. We've seen this whole situation with Sam Bankman-Fried and FTX, but most of it has been private money, so it doesn't have a lot of effect on government, doesn't have a lot of effect on taxes. It's certainly like a Madoff scandal, for example, is just another big, huge scandal, and a lot of people are going to lose a lot of money, but it doesn't really affect government. Climate change, however, is all government money because they use government to go after, different issues in the climate change world. And the irony of the whole thing is that the major oil companies are the largest developers of alternative energy, but they barely get noticed because their base is fossil fuel. And they're trying to get rid of fossil fuel. At least there's a crowd that are trying to do that. Now, we've seen what happens when we go too fast. In Europe, we're seeing just incredible prices for energy. Fortunately, Europe is having a bit of a mild winter right now so far. Let's hope it stays that way. But there's going to be large numbers of people living in shelters and in high schools overnight because they can't afford their energy. We've also seen this in the state of Hawaii. Hawaii went so far at electric energy and alternative forms of energy that they do not have enough energy out there, and the prices are going up to service their people. So we moved perhaps too fast. And so prices are going up. Everybody wants clean energy. Everybody wants to keep the environment safe and sound. So that might lead us to change from fossil fuels, but the rate of doing it is really the issue.
GM retook the title of America's top car seller, and that was last year. Toyota, for the first time ever, actually jumped GM as the best-selling American car seller, which was the first time that we had a non-American car manufacturer as the best seller, which was kind of interesting. But coming into Q1, though, Bed Bath & Beyond is exploring bankruptcy. So many of you probably know the popular retailer Bed Bath & Beyond. They've been struggling very mightily. In Q3, their sales are expected to fall by nearly a third. And they're looking at potentially filing for bankruptcy kind of coming into Q1. So Tesla coming into towards the end of 2022 had trouble delivering cars. Their December deliveries dropped by 20% from a year earlier. This came as China decided to end its more than a decade-long subsidy for electric vehicles. So China ended their subsidy, and with that, their cars got more expensive, and so they've had trouble delivering and getting orders there. I would say on the flip side of that, from what I've seen coming into 2023, they've been able to lower prices to get rid of the inventory. So we've seen major lines in demand as prices have lowered for Tesla.